Hello and good evening. I'm Melisa Idris.
And I'm Sharaad Kuttan.
Tonight on Consider This, we welcome Dato' Chong Sin Woon, Secretary General of MCA, former MCA Youth Chief, as well as the former Education Deputy Minister. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Hi.
Now, a lot of ground to cover tonight. We're going to be talking in the next half an hour about Muafakat Nasional, the Tanjung Piai by-election, the future of MCA, as well as the recent TAR UC controversy. But I would like to start off with the Tanjung Piai by-election and get a sense from you, given the recent General Assembly of MCA, what is the sense of what happened at Tanjung Piai? What is MCA's sense of what happened in Tanjung Piai?
Well, it's getting MCA a new breath, rejuvenate the whole party. If you compare the two AGM that we had just about last year, the same time, December the 1st, we were talking about leaving Barisan Nasional, dissolving Barisan Nasional. None of the component party were invited to officiate or join the party. But look at this year. Not only we invited the UMNO chairman to officiate us, but the deputy were there, SecGen were there, MIC were there. The whole phenomenon, euphoria is very different. And it gave a boost to MCA to make a comeback again. So Tanjung Piai by-election is really a new chapter for us.
But so, was it a protest vote against Pakatan or was it a vote for MCA? How do you see that?
Yeah. It's a two main reasons. One, of course, absolutely is a vote of protest over the Pakatan government. Secondly, is because of the candidates. The Sri Dr. Vijay Singh himself has been there for the past 20 years and he served the constituents very well. Thousands of people receive his personal care, assistance on monthly basis, and he was very hardworking, very down to the road, down to the ground with the people. And you can see whenever during the by-election, people from all walks of life, all races, recognize him, hugs him, loves him. So these two main reasons give us the landslide majority.
Right, but last year they rejected him. And the question is, why did they reject him? Was it MCA siding with Najib Razak's administration, seen as a corrupt administration? Was it the kind of confusion about where MCA was? Was it now a junior party within the coalition?
If you're talking about last year general election, it's a total consensus by the Chinese to change the government. They listen to DAP and they buy the idea. It's time for, after 60 years, we need a new government. So whether you serve it well, whether you did very well, a good MP or whatnot, they will say, sorry, this is not about you. This is about having a new government. So even Tiong Lai, who did a lot in Bentong, lost. Vijay Singh only lost by 500 over votes. Kasiong only won by 300 votes. So it's not about whether you perform or not. It is the whole trend of changing a new government. That was the inspiration of the last PRU.
Okay, so in the case of the recent Tanjung Piai by-election, pundits were saying that this was seen to be an endorsement of Muafakat Nasional. I want to get your sense of where you think the Muafakat Nasional pact, how that came into play in the by-election. What was PAS's role in the by-election win?
Well, if you're talking about Muafakat Nasional, it is a piagam, a so-called coalition and working together between PAS and UMNO. If you're talking about this Muafakat, yes, it really works to the Malay ground. Hadi was there to campaign for Jack Singh. Of course, Najib was there, Zahid was there. The whole machinery of UMNO, from the top to the very Cawangan kind of machinery, were all there. They were whacking us of having PAS in the picture. They were whacking Najib, the corrupted, were there with Jack Singh. But none of these attacks works. That shows how angry people are against the Pakatan. And also that also shows how people really want Jack Singh to replace the other party for Tanjung Piai.
Yeah, we come back to why people are angry, and I think I'll be very interested to understand what you think is going on. But the question of Najib, I mean, your party stood by him, and this is a man that now stands in the dock, accused of plundering the state and its resources. I mean, how does the party make sense of Najib Razak? I mean, is it something that people are willing to forget, that his alleged corruption and his obvious obvious ways, especially with his wife, of spending money in a very lavish fashion.
Well, you're right when you use the word allege. Let him face the judiciary action, whatever it is, and he chosen to defend himself. So I would not agree that MCA still stand by him or supported him and make him our leader. No, he was our prime minister before. Now that he came,
but there were serious allegations, and those allegations won American journalist Pulitzer prizes. Actually, this is not a unless you're thinking, unless you are agnostic and say, well, we think just leave it to the courts. We don't actually have a position on the allegations. I mean, don't you think the one MDB story was very serious?
Yeah, it's a serious case. That's why, whatever position that we make now, let's courts decide. There is judiciary system in the country, and the present government have taken actions. Let him defend, let him explain, let the court judge. If he's have involved in any corruption, take action against him, put him into the jail.
Will MCA distance itself from the leadership that has been alleged for
when
corruption?
he willingly come down and campaign for us, when Hadi wanted to come down campaign for us, as what my president have said many times, on the solidarity of opposition ground, who have shared the common issues, we welcome all the supports. We do not please don't come to campaign for us. I want to distance you from me.
You didn't see him as toxic. You didn't see toxic to MCA and its vision of Malaysia.
Okay, as far as MCA is concerned, as I said in the by-election, even if those friends of MCA, friends of Barisan Nasional came down, IPF, PPP, whoever want to come down to campaign for us, on that ground, we welcome. But you don't see our support to him on the court or whatnot. I say, let the court decide. Everybody have a say and a chance for them to explain themselves. So by far, what the president have said it, we want to make sure the Barisan Nasional come back to the core struggle, which is for multiracial, for the middle path, for the centrists. We don't go extreme on race issue, on religion issue, on royalty issue, the 3 Rs, neither one. We want to come back to the real Malaysia that we have built so many years. Of course, there is hiccups here and there. During the 60 years, some corruption, some mismanagement or whatnot, but those actions taken, and continue to taking action against them. But we want UMNO, we want MCA, we want MIC to come back to the core values that we have shared so many years, power sharings. We want to have everybody's benefit from the growth of the country. Let's move forward from here. Okay. A new chapter for us.
We're going to come back and continue on that, especially the future of MCA riding from the win in Tanjung Piai. That's coming up next on Consider This. Make sure you stay right here on Astro AWANI. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Consider This. We're speaking tonight to Dato' Chong Sin Woon, the SecGen for MCA. Now they're fresh off a General Assembly meeting, and we want to get a sense from you, coming back to what you said just before the break. You said that you talked a little bit about the anger of the Chinese community. Now I want to get a sense of your read, your diagnosis of the current situation. What exactly is the Chinese community saying to you that you're listening to on the ground?
Well, when I say about the angry of the Chinese community, it is shared amongst the Malay and Indian as well. First, of course, the fulfillment of the promises made by Pakatan, especially on Chinese community, when they say they were going to recognize UEC easily as compared to us. That didn't work. They wanted to have a fair treatments to all Chinese schools. That didn't work. Whatever allocation that we have been given, the same amount are being tabled in the parliament. So nothing really, of course, they give extra to the independence Chinese school, that I recognize. Okay. But out of that, nothing really moved. Of course, the economy is in a bad shape now. The bursa is plunging, the value of ringgit. So people are living, after GST, they say, take away the GST, you're going to have lower price, people are going to have happy life after Pakatan takes over. The toll is still there, liners that matters, the Chinese really angry about liners. But now they say it's safe. We also keep the everything
so they're starting to sound like Barisan National.
Yeah, I mean, if you are...
No, and I say that seriously. I don't mean that in a mocking way. What I want to know is there a problem with Malaysian politics that when you come to power, that the kind of trade-offs that you have to make, especially to the civil service, to kind of ethno-nationalist ideology, that actually makes moving on things like UEC and all very different. Because the narrative about what Malaysia is hasn't changed. So whether it's the MCA or whether it is Chinese representatives within the Pakatan Harapan, they're all going to face the same problem. They cannot move this country in a different direction.
It can be moved, and it has a progressive during our time. Why the Chinese are so angry? Because they have promised the moon and the stars. And that didn't work out for the past 18 months. And if you ask me, the same, as I say, share with all Malaysians, are the economic issue. Bread and butter issue still the main issue. So when Pakatan's, the government went down for Tanjung Piai, trying to explain the price of the palm oil, and saying that 1,000 ringgit is enough for you to live in kampong, and that really triggered the angers. So when
and this is not specific to the Chinese community. This is
exactly, I say right. Share among all the rakyats. And we entering into the second weeks, they really target on Najib Razak together with Reject Singh because of the court case, on Hudud issue, on Jawi, and that all didn't work. And that shows how the angles of the peoples, cover all these issues.
All right, I also kind of want to know, in a sense that if you've acknowledged this is what you're hearing from the Chinese community, is MCA now going to be a better representative for what the Chinese community wants?
Well, that is our challenge. That is what MCA should do, is not only attacking or criticizing the government policy. We have to come up with our own policies. What if MCA is in power? What should you do on palm oil price, on the education issues, on all the progressive, on women's, on environmental issues? It is us now transforming on talking policy and issue as alternative rather than bashing the government every day.
Okay, I wanted to ask you this. I mean, this is your, from a party that actually established modern Malaysia, right? So this is, in some ways, the MCA was the linchpin for our independence and so on and so forth. But there's been a real decline. And the Chinese voters, or actually Malaysian voters who would have to vote in those constituencies, have abandoned the MCA. I mean, Tanjung Piai, you doubled your representation in Parliament from 1 to 2, which is not something to crow about, right, in many ways. So the question is, why the decline? What exactly was part of that decline, and can that be arrested, reversed, changed?
Well, if you ask me, it's really about the balancing in Barisan Nasional, which is true that UMNO is superpower. It's so powerful that they sometimes ignore the component parties. The main party like MCA and MIC, so if you're talking about the Sabah and Sarawak, they were even worse. So when you have one major strong party that sometimes really didn't take into consideration of other races, and that slowly erode our support. And then the thing that we table in the parliament, or I would say in the cabinet, sometimes didn't go well. Rejection, like what you say, back to those Barisan Nasional days. So this change of government last year give us a new breath. We really have to forget everything and start from beginnings again.
But is UMNO reformed? Can UMNO change? UMNO seeking support from PAS to strengthen an ethno-nationalist core within the Muafakat Nasional.
And are you still a junior party in the coalition?
Well, junior or senior, it's really about support that you have. Historically, yes, okay, we are three parties that formed this country, we got independence, but it was history. Let's talk about how much support do you have. Let's be realistic. If you still only like 3 or 4 seats and you claim that yourself you're equal party, don't make a joke. In politics, we are talking about numbers. So if we want to take back the position of a core party, a respected party, we need to get back the support, especially the Chinese community, since we are contesting in most Chinese majority seats. So whatever you say about all this, as a party, of course, MCA is trying to reform further. Recently, we just passed amendment of Constitution that we open up our membership to a non-Chinese to become associate members. That is a big change for MCA. Lots of veterans will not agree on this, but we say moving forward, we didn't only want to get support from the Chinese, we want to get support from every single Malaysians, regardless of race and religions. That's why, if you ask me, will UMNO change? That question you should ask UMNO. But as far as MCA is concerned, we wanted UMNO to change, we wanted MIC to change, we wanted Barisan to change. And as a partner, as a senior partner, formed from day one, we wanted everything to move back to the core value that we believe before this.
Can I touch on that? So MCA, members of MCA have voted to lower the membership age from 18 to 16 now to allow non-Chinese Malaysians to become affiliate members without voting rights. So right now you've got just over 1 million members in MCA.
Right.
You talked about pushback coming from the veterans. So talk to me about the rationale of lowering the voting age.
Lowering because we have amended the constitutions,
Mm-hmm.
you know, for allowing 18 years old all Malaysians to vote.
Why non-Chinese Malaysians now? Are you trying to become more like Gerakan?
Nah, don't compare with Gerakan, okay. Let's compare with PKR, is better. Now, what we're trying to do is...
Well, PKR would have full members.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be associate members. PAS has associate members as well, right?
Yeah.
They have their club.
That's right.
So
That's right. For us to move to that, it will be very difficult. Okay. Because as I say, the veterans who have built the party for so many years, they safeguard the Chinese rights. You know, that's what MCA perceive. So moving, it was the idea mooted by us back to year 2015, 2016, when I was the youth chief. So now that the party starting to amend our constitution to allow this to happen, that is a big, giant leap for the party. And you know that when the seats that we won is a mixed seats, most of them. So we have Chinese, Malay, and Indian and others to support us. So why only we confine to the Chinese community? And once we have associate member, let's say we have a handsome number of them joining us, then we can have a dialogue. Then we can have a talk to understand more about the non-Chinese. If not, MCA would only focus on Chinese issue, the education issues, the Chinese culture issue, and that wouldn't really match with the new Malaysian that we have now. The younger generation would not want to see more racial lines in politics.
All right, we're going to come back in just a couple of minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying with us on Consider This. Melisa and Sharaad here with you tonight. We're talking to Datuk Chong Sin Woon, the MCA Secretary General. Now, earlier in the show, at the start of the program, you talked about the Tanjung PI win as a new chapter for MCA. How exactly is the party going to ride on that? You know, you talked about it being rejuvenating the party. What is the strategy now moving forward to reform MCA to win back the support?
Well, as I said earlier, we as opposition party, we cannot just attacking, criticizing and bashing the government. We must come up with policy, alternative policy, discourse that we can discuss with the rakyat and also listening to the rakyat. Nowadays, we do not believe that the leaders knows everything, but let's open up the door, open up the platform to listen to the people. At that juncture, we also open up our membership to non-Chinese as associate member. We hope to listen more to non-Chinese points of views and also to open up our discourse on our issues, not only focusing on Chinese educations and Chinese businesses and Chinese culture issues. And on that note, the Tanjung BI by-election also let us learn a very good kind of campaigning within the Barisan Nasional. This is the first time ever that we really work as a team. In those days, UMNO will take care of the Malay, let the Chinese, we're going to take care of the Chinese, MIC will take care of the Indian. But this time, you can see a real Barisan Nasional campaign, the machinery, where we have a Malay leaders, the UMNO leaders come to the Chinese crowd, talk to the Chinese, tell the Chinese what UMNO leaders think about. And our MCA leaders with fluent Bahasa Malaysia go to the Malay kampong and talk to the Malay. And we even have a very fluent Chinese-speaking UMNO youth leader, very fluent Chinese-speaking Indian leaders come to the Chinese and using Mandarin. And the pentaksiran and the jaziran and also the JR made by the Wanita consists all parties. So this is a very good feel of the real Barisan Nasional should be. And the Rakyat wanted to see a multiracial kind of coalition, a real one, a true one. And that shows in Tanjung Piai. And from that, we're going to use this model to be used in the whole country.
You know, it seems to me that you're talking about a kind of feel that we associated with Pakatan Rakyat and Pakatan Harapan. When they were in the opposition, they came together, they crossed lines, they were
multiracial,
right. As
worked
soon
together.
as they want power, and they are in power, they seem to have fractured and so on and so forth. I mean, is this the nature, do you think, of politics?
For the long 60 years of governance under Barisan Nasional, as I say again, there are hiccups here and there. But overall, we did brought the country from a very beginning, a poor country, into a more advanced country. So we have all this a good prime minister. You have Dr. Rahman, Tun Razak, you know, Hussein On, all the way until Najib Razak. They have a different kind of policies to focus on the country development. Of course, when we are in opposition, it's a good time, it's a good chance for us to sit down, get back to the ground, and let's talk again.
Okay, is there a chance of actually going back to the past in some ways, you know, the politics of accommodation and so on, especially today when Sabah and Sarawak are pulling in very different directions, are actually changing the nature of federal politics in Malaysia? What is MCA's sense of the Borneo dynamic that's been injected into Malaysian politics?
Well, I have always been saying that if you want to learn the spirit of one Malaysia, go to East Malaysia. The Look East policy should be looking at the East of Malaysia. The true Malaysian spirit are there in Sabah and Sarawak. So if Borneo can play a bigger role in Malaysian central politics, I would say that it's a good thing for the country. Let us, the West Malaysia, learn from Sabah Sarawak. The true spirit.
Now, if I may pivot the conversation now in the couple of minutes that we have left, I do want to make sure we have time to touch on the TAR College, the TAR College, University College controversy.
Right.
So recently on the show, we had the Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng. We also had President of the TASIAN Alumni Association here on the show. Now, I want to get a sense from you, after everything that they've said, saying that the government now agreeing to channel that 30 million ringgit through a trust fund. And we heard Lim Guan Eng say that MCA has not been discussing or in talks with the finance minister. Can you respond to that?
No, when question asks on Lim Guan Eng, are you willing to talk to MCA? He said, no need, because I already have the kind of condition. As long as MCA relinquish their control over Star UC, I'm going to give you 30 million or even more. Today, this morning, he announced another 10 million, 40 million.
Right.
What for? After the AGM of MCA, after Zahid said that if BN come back as a government, we're going to give more to TAR UC, suddenly you increase 10 million. I mean, looking at this finance minister, the way he manages the country's fund is like his own money. He announced in the budget, only allocate 1 million for TAR UC. Why suddenly after Tanjung Piai, he said, I can give you 30 million. You have to go to a proper channel.
The one thing though to clarify was the legal problem with the structure of the governance structure, that in fact there should be a 50% control by, or at least independent governors. Now is that a problem? Do you see that as a problem?
No problem. We comply everything. For the past 50 years, it complies. Look into the board of director in the TAR UC. 5 of them, we have 10, 5 of them are from government, from the Ministry of Education, from the Ministry of Finance. So they were there since day one, when we have the matching grant, 1 ringgit to 1 ringgit, and after that, the maximum of 30 million. They have sitting there for so many years. And every name that we are proposing into the trustee and also board of director are being approved by the government from the different ministry. So we have been, following the guidelines and comply every time. So why make a fuss suddenly or targeting on MC and TAR UC?
So what happens now? There is a standoff right now. Who is going to back down?
Okay, the ball is with the government. We are opposition, and Thai UC is only an education institution with no power at all. What we are talking now is, please fulfill the government promises of giving Thai UC at least, the maximum of 60 million every year. If you cannot give 60 million, give 50 million, 30 million, 40 million, you decide. But you don't go and set up a new fund, a so-called foundation, which has not been set up. And already, we saw the letter from Lim Guan Eng, you already approved 30 million. Today, add on another 10 millions. Who are these funds going to channel when there is no such foundation? We have never seen a pre-approved allocation to somebody. This so-called TAA is only like 12 years old. It is not a long history.
But the Thai president is an MCA member.
So what?
A lifelong MCA member.
So what?
Okay.
So what? I mean, we are over 1 million. You can be a taxi driver, you can be anybody is a life member or MCA member. That doesn't really legalize you to do that. If you ask me, 30 million is not a small number. If you really want to help, give it to the Thai Board of Directors. They are representative from the government. They are ruled and runs by the guidelines of the government for the past 50 years. And it's proven. It's proven there are good management there.
Unfortunately, I'm being told that we've run out of time. That's all the time we have on the show today. Thank you so much for being on the show. Sharaad and I will be back tomorrow, same time, for another episode of Consider This. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.